Welcome, my beautiful souls, and welcome, my fellow Virgos. First, let me say happy birthday. Um, so Sam's birthday, my boyfriend, is on the 23rd. He opens up Virgo, and I'm on the 13th. And I know a lot of you share Sam's birthday and my birthday. Well, not, I mean, different people, but um, so happy birthday to those who are going to be celebrating a birthday. But this is going to be for Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Definitely those intuitively guided. I feel like I don't need to say that anymore. Like I know the majority are just trusting your intuition. If you're new, what I feel happens is like you'll see a reading and maybe you don't click on it. Maybe you're like, that's a long video. um, but then something makes you click on it. Well, that's your spiritual team. And that means that there's a message in here for you. So you could certainly also be in love with a Virgo. I was going to say Scorpio. Interesting. There may be a Virgo Scorpio connection. Um, but anyway, you may be in love with the Scorpio. I know I am. So, um, same thing though. If you're here, really just checking up in their energy, your guides know that. And they'll get messages to you through the reading. It's just what they do. It's just what they do. And this is why I love reading tarot. So, okay, we're going to do things a little differently this month. If it doesn't work out the way I plan, which I felt guided to do it this way, so I have a feeling it will work out. But if it doesn't, then we'll turn around and do our regular spread. But something told me to go right to the guides again and ask direct questions. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to ask number one, what's blocking me or my growth in any or all areas? Excuse me one second. Okay, sorry, I'm right back. It's interesting because I told Sam, like, when my door is closed, I'm in a reading. But then I said, you can always, like, if you need me, knock on the door. Well, now he's just knocking on the door for silly little things. So, um, but anyway, so where were we? The questions. So, what's blocking me or my growth? And I really put in all or any areas because there's going to be different blocks for different people, if there's any. Number two, what do your spirit guides want you to know right now and why? So, I want to know why. Number three, how will my love life be for September? Whether I'm single, meeting someone, or maybe in a current relationship. So, we'll check out love, see how that's going, and for those who may be open to love, let's see how that looks. Number five, if single or looking, what type of person is coming my way? You're actually crossing each other's paths, but our guides know what I mean. So, what type of person is coming your way? And then, last but not least, what energy is called for us in September? So, this is really going to be our guide's biggest message on really, how we can succeed through the month of September. Um, so, we're going to use the Universal Tarot for the questions. Um, we're going to use the Gilded Tarot to go under and the Crystal Vision to go above. Of course, we will open the reading with Mother Mary. And something was, oh, look at that. Look at temperance just flipped around. Divine timing. Card Sagittarius. Might be a Sagittarius here. I often feel like temperance is mixing the loving waters of the soulmates together. and the divine timing. I mean, this is for all things in life, but as it relates to love, she wants to make sure that both cups are equally filled. So if it takes patience, then it takes patience. But it's also trusting in divine time, and I know a lot of people are getting frustrated with that whole sentence, trust in divine timing. But I feel like it is something we have to learn to do. And you know why? Because I feel like sometimes, oh, probably the majority of the time, our spiritual team knows, you know, they know, let's just say what's best for us or how that we can have like the best time here on earth, even if we're just starting. Maybe life has been very, very difficult and things are changing. Interesting. I don't know why I'm getting all that from that one card. Um, but anyway, so we are going to use them. Um, we'll slide everything over, and everything is always pre-shuffled, just so you know that. So, because we're doing quite a bit, I'm not going to reshuffle them again, though I am going to give Mother Mary a quick shuffle. Actually, I probably will give them all one shuffle. So let's start with Mother Mary, though. And let's go ahead and open up your reading for September. And bring the lid down. There we go. Mother Mary for my beautiful Virgos. All right. We have integrity. I trust my ability to know what is true for me. I trust my ability to know what is true for me. That's your intuition. Integrity. And then we have Father. I don't know why, but I feel like we get this card a lot. Father. My true Father is God in heaven, who shines healing light upon me, my birth father, and our relationship. So integrity and Father. And we'll see, the father figure to me is like the emperor. Um, and, it's interesting. I often feel that for some, it's talking about something like a generational situation, let's say. I was going to say curse, but I don't want to say curse. I feel like it could be something that has followed, let's just say from generation to generation, and maybe now you have the ability to end it for future generations. Interesting. I'm feeling that important about that. All right, so let's go ahead and bring in the major arcanas. And these I'm really leaving open. Um, you know, no question with them. Just what energy, what story they want to tell us. Well, hello, mother figure. So, the Empress. Beautiful. Virgo, I feel like we naturally carry this energy. Um, and what did I just do that put Virgo, what was I doing that put Virgo as the mother figure, the nurturer? I can't remember. Um, Maybe I'll remember it through the reading. But anyways, the Emperor, creative, powerful, strong. This may talk about project, something that you're creating. And hello, beautiful sun next to it. So the illumination, you put the sun and the Empress together. I feel like, hello, September. like, let's welcome September in. She's sitting with this beautiful bounty on her lap, and we are really in harvest time. So I feel like it's a saying you have the ability to create this harvest. And maybe that's why we saw temperance. You know, when I think of the Empress also, she is, as we all are, receiving epiphanies and ideas all the time. But she knows the perfect time to bring something about. It's not always immediate. I think about like the caring of a child and how I want to carry that child for 9 months. I want it fully developed, and I would say that the same within a relationship or a career, giving the time needed. Um, but then again, not sitting too long on it. And maybe you have been like waiting for the perfect time. The sun would be a great representation of that. That is the illuminator. When the sun comes out, it's like a promise of light energy. Already September is looking good. The sun, it allows you to feel like a kid again, really unencumbered. All right, we'll see if anything wants to follow it. The sun is also part of Leo. We have the Chariot card of Cancer. Chariot is number one, balance. And that's something else that Temperance prefers, like us being in a balanced state. It means the balance of the feminine and the masculine within oneself, the light and the shadow. It's believing in yourself, that there really are no limits on what you can do. You just have to believe that. And then we have the Tower. So I feel like something happened that may have set you on a different course, something that was unexpected. But I feel like it's going to turn out, if it hasn't already, maybe to be the best tower of your life. And I know when you're going through it, it can mean disruption, can certainly mean endings. Sometimes I do feel like our spiritual team senses a tower, doesn't guarantee us or doesn't guarantee them that we will then make a move. But I feel like our guides will, especially if this is talking about something, well, feels like something beautiful opening up. And just the way Temperance wanted it to be seen, divine timing. But now the sun is here and it's really illuminating the Empress. So I feel like the Empress is like free and clear to create, to build, to receive her own harvest. That harvest is from the work that I've put in. But then seeing the fruits of your labor. I know that many of you are very creative, and not only creative, but psychic. You may not use that. Not everybody like, I feel like we all have that ability, but not everyone's interested in using it. But I have a feeling your intuition's going to be singing in September, but for good reasons. So again, this tower happened to the Empress, but I feel like it's what put the Empress in place. And now the sun, right? So there's no shadows. It's all light. It's all free flowing. And I feel like that's a great message for us too. Like, just allow our creativity to flow in whatever way we use it. Again, the mother figure. Okay. So We're going to keep these, but I'm going to slide them. I don't even know where to put them. I don't know if you can see them there. No. Well, we'll just remember. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the questions. I'm just going to do a quick shuffle and a cut. And again, I'm using the Universal Tarot for the questions. And I'll tell you why I really love this format is because I'm going directly to our guides, asking specific questions, and they answer these questions, at least so far as I've been doing this format. Like the answers are so clear that come back. So I thought, well, why not just continue it through the month of September? But we'll see. All right, crystal vision. Give it a cut. I don't even want to know what's there. I like being surprised right along with you. All right. So, are you ready? This is a time where I would just clear your energy. Like all of a sudden I felt like I needed to take deep breath. Inhale the light. Exhale the dark. First question. What's blocking me or my growth in any or all areas? The world. So the world is completion. Something has come to completion. There may be something maybe you're not allowing to come to completion. The world is the next chapter. Let's take crystal vision above it. We have the Seven of Pentacles. And then below, look at this. We have the Wheel. Wow. You want to talk about a destined time, Virgo. The world with the Seven of Pentacles above it. Seven of Pentacles to me is your tree of life. Like every pentacle on that tree, I feel like is one of your soul's desired intentions. Some of them are predestined, and I have a feeling that is the case because what's mirroring it is the wheel, and that is your destiny. So, what is blocking? Let's just say the next opportunity. I feel like something needs to come to completion, and that will open up the next tower. It reminds me of the Empress receiving, did I say the next tower? The next portal. But it reminds me of the tower mirroring the Empress. And maybe that's why I was pulled, because I wasn't even going to use the major arcanas in this reading, but something's like, no, start the reading with them. So I did. But now I feel like that's exactly what it's saying, like allowing something to come to completion and allowing something new to open up, because this is exactly what's happening in this energy. But Seven of Pentacles, it's very much like the wheel. Again, your tree of life. So whatever opening up, it definitely feels like it's time. It was meant to. So that tower, again, we may go back one day and say, thank you, tower, because without you, maybe I never would have moved into this new horizon. I am not seeing anything to fear at all. If anything, I feel like your guides want you to understand that, well, for many, you're heading into a destined time. But I also want to remind you that these pentacles on this tree, they're really seeds. So you have to nurture those seeds. And if you do, they'll only grow and blossom and then set out new seeds. I never feel it's a one time thing. It's just the beginning of something. But it's all about you. All about you. And even a number seven, seven is a very spiritual number. So for many of you, it's like your spirituality is truly opening up. And I feel like you're trusting it more than ever. And what a glorious thing that is. All right, let's keep going. What does your spirit guides want you to know right now and why? Hello, Ace of Cups. Hello, love. Now, doesn't have to be romantic love. We'll see. It may just be a love of what you do. And let me tell you, I love what I do. I work hard. I work really hard, but I love it at the same time. So that's why I'm feeling, um, yes, this may talk about romantic love, but I also feel like it's talking about a love of what you're creating. How beautiful that the Ace of Cups is following the world representing this new chapter that's opening up, the wheel representing your destiny, right? Like it was always meant to be, but maybe in a particular time. Interesting. I'm noticing how this dove is like putting the host in the cup. You know, to me, that represents the unconditional love of the higher realms, not just this earthly plane, but of the higher realms. Okay, so what do your spirit guides want you to know right now and why? They give us the Ace of Cups. How come? The High Priestess, your intuition. And look at this, the Fool. Oh my gosh. A new beginning, a leap of faith. Under the Ace of Cups, mirroring the High Priestess. This is definitely telling you that your intuition is going to be singing That's the Sun with the Empress. You know, this Fool, which often I point out in the world's energy, that this is the Fool, right? Ready to take a leap in this new path. Or let's just say this next portal open up. So, wow, free and clear. Let's talk about, because I'm asking why. So, the Fool definitely has reflected on the past. The Fool is us and on any new journey. And it's about extracting the wisdom of the past. Usually you'll see a little knapsack. That's that wisdom. But then it's about taking a leap forward. And how do I love that it's mirroring your intuition, your GPS in this lifetime? That may also be the message. Not only do they love you unconditionally, but I also feel like it's talking about love on this earthly plane. And I feel like you're being asked just to pay attention to your intuition. Like Let me give you an example. I know I use this a lot, but like when I used to go to work, I mean, when I had to leave the house and go to work, I'd always stop and get a cup of coffee. And, like I had a Dunkin' Donuts on one side, a Starbucks on the other side. Now, I always went to Dunkin' Donuts. It was just on that side of the road. But maybe as you're about to go into Dunkin' Donuts, something tells you, you know what? Go over to Starbucks today. So you do. And then lo and behold, you meet someone. Maybe they're standing in line waiting to get a cup of coffee themselves. But I feel like a conversation begins. Interesting, because now I can picture it. I see it in my mind's eye. Like this conversation just begins. But then I feel like, but then it never ends. It may end for that day, but I feel like numbers are exchanged. Okay, so this started about me going to Dunkin' Donuts, but the rest of it, it's from your spirit team, our spiritual team. So, trusting your intuition, looking at your intuition as your GPS, remembering that you weren't thrown down into this world without any help. You have a whole spiritual team. And even like the major arcanas, I feel like some of them are gifts that we were given to use on this earthly plane, like the high priestess, our intuition. It's our guiding light. And again, the empress with the sun. Hmm. And we may come back and look at that a little bit more, but at this moment, I kind of understand what it's saying. So this could be the potential of love opening up for you. It does feel like you are going to have to take a leap of faith. It is sitting upon your wheel. It's telling you that you are entering a destined time. No doubt about that. I mean, I have no doubt in anything I'm saying. Okay, well, let's keep going. So, well, how will my love life be? Whether single, meeting someone new, or even a current relationship. So, for the month of September, but really moving forward, how will your love life be? Three of Wands, optimism. It's interesting because you have a lot of energy that seems to be calling you to the present moment, clearing of the past. But don't forget, we're in the year of the Hermit, our major arcana. And that's all about spiritual clarity. I feel like it's also about becoming that wise old soul. And I don't mean old as in age, I mean ancient wisdom that's available to us. So this is a great energy. Like I feel like what it's saying is stay optimistic. Three of Wands is someone who is living in the present moment, which is good because that's exactly what the Fool's calling for. And this is really saying to divine, so how we saw temperance, that I trust that my ships will come in right when they're meant to. So I feel like your spiritual team is saying, be optimistic. Be optimistic about the future of your love life. All right, let's go right above. We have the Queen of Swords. Can be Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Doesn't have to be though. And then we have, look at this, two different queens. Interesting. The Queen of Wands. Queen of Wands, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. We saw Sagittarius. We also saw Leo with the sun. But this, to me, because I feel for the majority, this is you. And I feel like it's the different energies to take on. Queen of Wands is a great energy with the Three of Wands. Especially if I'm stepping upon a new path, which she's following the full. This is someone who moves according to her passions. Like, if I feel passionate about it, then chances are I'm going to move forward. And then the Queen of Swords mirroring her. Well, the Queen of Swords, integrity. That may be why Mother Mary sent that card out. Speaking your truth. I feel like the Queen of Swords can only live in truth. Of course, if she was reversed, then it would be the opposite. So to me, that means I speak the truth, and therefore I expect the truth back. But I feel like also, I don't want to put worry on this because it feels like there's nothing to worry about. Quite the opposite. I feel like what it's saying is as this starts to evolve, the willingness to follow, right? Or to take that leap of faith may be the best thing you've ever done. You know, it's one of those things where I feel again like that tower that showed up. The day will come and it's like, thank you, God, for that tower. Because without that tower, maybe the world energy wouldn't have opened up. At least not now. Down the road, eventually, yes. I also love that this queen is lighting this fire. It's like her flame, her inner flame. It's almost like a symbol to the universe or to future love. Interesting. Okay. So, what lessons from the past are helping you right now? Look at this, the Seven of Pentacles again. Interesting. What I feel like this is saying is I feel like many of you are having this realization that not all things are going to work out, but sometimes the things that don't work out are really the stepping stone to the next, to eventually the one or whatever you want it to be in the Seven of Pentacles. Again, it's your tree of life. The Seven of Pentacles, the meaning is patience first, because think of it like your garden, like you plant this seed. Well, you don't just plant it and then walk away. You nurture that seed. You give it sunlight, water, your love, and it blossoms. All right, let's go right above. Ten of Wands. Okay, well, that makes sense because we're really looking at what um, the past lessons and how it's really helping you today. Well, the Ten of Wands, that's a heavy energy. It is certainly a lot of responsibility. I feel like because again, we're looking at past lessons. This may talk to some of you as it relates to relationships, and it can be relationships of all forms where you may, and this is a Scorpio trait where, we do tend to take the brunt of the responsibility. And sometimes it's because we feel like, well, no one can do it better anyway, so I might as well do it. So for some of you, it's that fine art of delegation. Like you've been learning to delegate. You've been learning that not all these wands are meant for you to carry. Like people. carry your own wands. That feels like part of what wants to come to completion. But right now, I'm feeling it more as energy, more as a realization. The Nine of Cups, inner fulfillment. And not just inner fulfillment, but fulfillment of wishes. So, what has your past taught you? Number one, I get the sense of not sweating the small stuff. Like the things that I truly thought that mattered really don't matter. Maybe the standing up for oneself, but no one's listening. Okay, that's fine, right? I can go be by myself. That's the one thing about Virgo is I feel like it's not that we don't want love. We do want love. But being alone is not punishment, let's say. But again, how has your past helped you today? I feel like it's teaching you to set down these wands that aren't yours. And it may be for some in love, the same thing. Like if it's all you, if it's all one sided, well, then that's not right. So some of you may become single, or you may have recently become single. I often feel in the Nine of Cups singular energy. But again, this is inner harmony and fulfillment of wishes. So for some of you, probably for the majority of you, these past lessons, having been learned, is what opens up these new wishes. Inner harmony, I feel like, is the key. Finding that inner harmony. How do I find that inner harmony? Well, again, Ten of Wands, I'm not going to carry anyone's wands around anymore. If it's not, and I don't mean this in an egotistical way, but if it's not if it's not to benefit me, not that I don't want to give a helping hand, that's not what I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with giving a helping hand. But if I give and give and give and give, and nothing ever seems to change, well, then I have to be truthful with myself. Again, the Seven of Pentacles, your tree of life. It's like your spirit team is saying, we want you happy. We want you to have this inner harmony. We want you to be able to let go of those wands and start enjoying life. We want you to be the full, free and clear. And that doesn't mean free and clear from people, unless that's what you want, but free and clear of the past and the willingness to take a leap forward. Because what we want to remember is we do go by cycles, and we're in the final 9-year cycle. And when this cycle ends, it's opening up a brand new 9. Well, I'm just realizing I'm holding a 9. It opens up a brand new 9-year cycle. Well, now I really want this to be for you. Like, I really want you to have this inner harmony and whatever is coming with it. It's like the wheel is here, mirroring the Seven of Pentacles, your tree of life. Certain seeds are coming to fruition. One of them does feel like the Ace of Cups. But I feel like there's more than one, because now we also have the Nine of Cups under the Seven of Pentacles. So if this is another seed that's coming to fruition, Well, that's only bringing you happiness, inner harmony, joy. It's exactly like the sun energy where, how do I want to say this? Where life just feels unencumbered. It doesn't mean that everything is going perfect. You are able to separate yourself, let's say, from the chaos, the drama. I don't see anywhere where you're interested in that. It's probably what you have dealt with. Done with that. Okay, so if single or looking, what type of person is coming my way? And when I say my way, it's just because I'm you. Like, I am whose ever energy I'm reading for. So, type of person. Hello, Ace of Pentacles. Wow. This means it's coming into your physical world. And now, when we see the Fool and the Ace of Cups, hello. This isn't a pipe dream. This is something that's manifesting. But that's what you were wishing for. It's like I see your growth because we can wish all we want, right? We can wish for like a high vibrational love. But if we cannot give that back, well, then it wouldn't make sense for it to come at that time. So I feel like what your guides are saying is the Ten of Wands seems to be the ticket of the past, right? And what wants to come to completion. And that completion is what opens everything else up. Look at that Ace of Pentacles right next to the Seven of Pentacles. I mean, when it tells you that in the Nine of Cups, you find that inner harmony no matter what you're surrounded with, finding it within. Then I feel like, well, get ready. Get ready because it's even mirroring the world. So, definitely meant to be. All right, let's go, Bub. Oh my gosh. Virgo, look at that. What type of person is potentially coming my way? Here's the Ace of Cups. Here's the Ace of Cups. It's following the Ten of Wands. That is what needs completion. It's interesting because I'm looking at the Queen of Swords a little differently now. Almost like this queen is stating her piece. Like, this is how I want my life. This is the things I want to. Yeah, it's interesting because I just did a podcast on. Actually, I did a couple. I did Scorpio and Aquarius together. I'm going to go around and do everyone. But what was my point? There was something else. Anyway, I definitely feel like the queen is, making a statement. And why? Because she feels it. She's trusting her intuition. And her intuition is saying enough is enough with the Ten of Wands. And that would bring us to the Fool. And the Fool is connected to the Ace of Cups. Well, here's the Ace of Cups again, now connected to the Ace of Pentacles. Oh my God. The Lovers. What type of person? It's interesting because The Lovers, the meaning of the card is a head over heart decision. But I don't feel like that's the case here. It is also a card of Gemini, by the way. Mercury, ruled by Mercury. So this queen speaking her piece, that may make sense being ruled by Mercury. But other than that, I feel like it's talking about the chemistry. You know, when I see the Lovers, though, it's not always represented in every image. A lot of times you'll see them naked. And that means that both are free to be their authentic selves. Like nothing else would do. Like be who you are. And the growth that you've had. Listen, I don't feel like this type of love would come in if you guys didn't feel you were ready for it. This is a perfect example of working hand in hand with our divine team, right? They're reaching us through our intuition. They're telling us, that love is the name of the game. And I feel like it's not just love of a person, it's also love, well, of your life, the Nine of Cups, love of what you do. If you're creating something new, this may be the perfect time. And I say that a lot, but I've been saying that a lot for this year. I don't like next year, we're going to be in the year of the magician. Powerful. So if we take this year seriously, the year of the hermit, well, the Ten of Wands would not come for the ride when your next chapter opens. And that's exactly what it's showing. There is chemistry that is undeniable with the Lovers. And you can even see how the feminine is in current energy, right? And the masculine, we can feel him. He just isn't here yet, but I can feel him. Like I just feel it. And how beautiful that is coming next to the Nine of Cups, where there really is little weighing on your shoulders. Or if there are things weighing on your shoulders, you now know how to handle them. But I have to be honest, I feel like a lot of you are cutting ties, and people, maybe to jobs, to whatever, is not feeling right to you anymore. Virgo, I feel that you are one of the most psychic signs. And you don't have to be in tune with the psychic part of it, but your intuition. Like it must be singing to you. I mean, my God, this is not any old love. And look at the line. The Lovers is mirroring the Ace of Cups, and the Ace of Pentacles is telling us it's coming in. It's mirroring the world. It's like double validation. Holy moly. Holy moly. All right, I'm going to look at the bottom of the decks. So let's start with the Crystal Vision. We have the Seven of Wands. Seven of Wands is about standing your ground. Interesting, it's coming right next to another seven. Your Tree of Life. It's in line with the Queen of Swords, where I feel like she is speaking. But I feel like she's speaking her final piece to someone or a situation. Can be everything. We have the Nine of Wands on the bottom of the Universal Tarot. That's good news because this is also about reflection. But this type of reflection is the type of reflection I feel like we should do. This is about looking back, let's just say at the last 9 years. You can, I feel like we should do this often, but let's just use the 9 years, for example. Every wand behind this person is something they've overcome. It's something they've accomplished. This person is not in the woe is me energy. What this person is realizing is, I am a spirit warrior. I got over this. I can get over anything. I got over this. I can get over anything. I've accomplished this. There's nothing I can't accomplish. So you're really looking at your spiritual growth. That's why this person is busting out of their clothes. Like their spiritual muscles have grown tenfold. And you know what? I feel like that's what created the Nine of Swords or the Nine of Cups, that inner harmony. This is about every once in a while giving yourself a pat on the back, like being proud of your own growth. And, I'm sorry, but if, like, we're saying our final piece, we're no longer accepting the caring of other people's problems. It's not that we don't want to help. I'm talking about those who just keep putting like weight on your shoulders. I don't think you're taking it anymore. And this is exactly what this year is about. Who and what do I want my next 9 years to be like? We have to take that seriously. I mean, this is like flicking a switch. We went from the dark to the light. Two swords on the bottom of the deck. So two swords, a little bit of a block. See who's under it. Look at that, the Eight of Swords. Okay, well, I don't love seeing either one, but this is real life. So the Eight of Swords is a self-created prison. Oh, look at this. Ten of Swords. And then look at this, the Seven of Swords. Wow. Seven of Swords, untrustworthy energy. Someone probably had put dagger after dagger after dagger in your back. That caused you to disconnect from the world for a little while. I don't blame you. But now it feels like it's time to set yourself free. So I like that it's gone from the Eight of Swords down to the Two of Swords. It's still the potential of blocking, but it's with less fear. I feel like the reason why this can be a potential block, I feel like it's for those who may be uncomfortable with change. But we are a mutual sign. Mutual? That's not what I meant. So change is just part of our lives. Lord knows I've had a lot of change. But I actually like change. So anyways, look at what you've been dealing with. Look at that. And look at what wants to come in. It literally is night and day. So I'm not really worried about that Two of Swords, because I feel like, again, if we just look at the energy of the lovers, here is the masculine, hasn't quite reached this yet, but somehow, some way, the feminine is feeling this energy. Why is she able to feel it? Because she's cleared all the riffraff. Her intuition is open, her or his, right? Finding inner harmony. And then fulfillment of wishes. It's like your guides are saying to, like to best take advantage of the potential of what's coming in. We need to think about where our own energy is at. I'm looking and the Three of Wands is right smack in the middle. Optimism. I expect good things to happen, and they do. I expect good things to happen, and they do. But while that is taking place in higher realms, I'm going to enjoy my present moments. It doesn't matter what's going on around me, out in the world. And I'm not saying like you shouldn't be concerned what's going on in the world. Lord knows there's a lot going on. But this is more about your inner harmony and the ticket to finding it. Not only finding it, but keeping it. I feel like once you move into the Nine of Cups, that's that. And even taking that Nine of Cups, add that Ace of Cups. Well, hello, baby. We now have the Ten of Cups. Ace of Cups, Ace of Pentacles, the Lovers. The Ace of Cups, the High Priestess, the Fool. The World, the Seven of Pentacles, the Wheel. The Wheel mirroring the Lovers. Seven of Pentacles, your Tree of Life, mirroring the Ace of Cups. And the World, the next chapter, who's saying that this Ace of Cups, but listen, I feel like this Ace of Cups, the first Ace of Cups, I feel like it is more than just like romantic love. I feel like here's our line of romantic love. But I feel like it's talking about everything, right? You finding this inner harmony, you creating unencumbered. It reminds me of like when I do readings or podcast, maybe 1% of the time, maybe I might center myself, or I may go in and, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't even know, because I barely do it. I can't think of the word. It's so crazy how simple word. But anyway, wow. Makes me want to look below the Knight of Wands. Strength card. Beautiful. And the High Priestess. Two of Pentacles under that. Strength card. With the Knight of Wands. That's also great energy. And look at what's above this person's head. The infinity sign. As above, so below. No beginning, no end. This is you looking within yourself. This is you knowing yourself. The good, the bad, the ugly. We have to remember we all have a shadow and a light side, a feminine and a masculine side. And it's not about shutting one down. It's about knowing when to use it, when it's being called upon. But boy, I feel like it feels like divine rewards for the effort that you've put into your life. And then the High Priestess right below that. Might as well look below that. Wow. We have the Four of Wands. So this is the marriage card. And maybe that's what some of you are seeking. This is Christina's favorite card. Christina, are you tired of me calling you out yet? First of all, the horse, it's white, pure. This man, it's like putting this woman on a pedestal. He's caring for her. Feels romantic. This, doesn't have to be marriage unless you want it to be marriage, but it definitely speaks of commitment. And I feel like with the Seven of Wands over it, it's like you know what you want now. And, standing your ground. But here's the thing. I often feel in the Seven of Wands that because we've stood our ground, that we have the ability to help others, to help put out their fires. but we have to be careful again. You know what I mean? Because that Ten of Wands can certainly talk about trying to put out everybody's fires and then they keep starting again. Okay, well, maybe that is not where I should put my effort. But I feel like the Four of Wands, the marriage card, is somewhat hidden, though we just saw it. Because how could it not be connected to this line? My God, the lovers, the Ace of Pentacles, the Ace of Cups. I could say that all day long. The wheel mirroring the lovers, part of your destiny. All right, let's bring in the clarifying love situations and let's go over this. I really don't feel like we need to go any deeper. I feel like it's pretty clear. I mean, yeah, you may have to read between the lines, but if anybody can do that, it's you. All right. You know, I feel like this month is going to be like a month that you put a pin in it. It's a month of unbelievable changes. And then if you think of the Three of Wands, who's right in the middle, I don't know that this is happening, but I trust that what's ever best for me, that my spiritual team is helping to guide it in. And I'm not putting any restrictions in front of it. You know, learning that you always have the right to say yes or no, that's never taken from you. But, all right. All right. So these cards have a message on each side, and it came out sideways. So to me, it means I'm going to read both. So, first, turbulence. Heal unresolved conflicts with kindness, not anger. And then we have tender attentions. With care and concern, approach gently, nurturing with soft, kind gestures. I don't know why I'm reading it like it's romantic, but that's kind of what it feels. And then we have achievable insight. Embrace practical steps towards clarity, bringing your goals within reach. There is like nothing off the table for you. Like literally, I feel like what you want to think about is how you want your life to look, how you want this new chapter to be, and trust within you and your spiritual team. Definitely a time to allow that intuition to sing because it's going to guide you to unbelievable places and to unbelievable people. And that's why we saw temperance in the beginning. I just know it. And that's probably why I said she's making sure that both of the soulmates' cups are equally filled. Well, we have two cups. We have two cups. All right. Last but not least, let's bring out the romance angels. Give them a cut. Definitely let me know what you thought about this spread, this format, as it relates to your monthly reading. Um, I do feel like it cuts out a lot of the fat, the fluff, and it gets us right to the point. All right. Getting to know you. getting to know each other. As you reveal your innermost selves to each other, your bond deepens. You know, we saw the mother figure, saw the father figure, and I'm saying that because here's this man, and I definitely feel like he's trying to win the heart of this woman. I feel like she's enjoying every moment of it, but she also has a child in her hand. So I feel like if it's a blended family, there's no problem with that. Excuse me one second. Okay, sorry about that. So, anyways, what I was saying here is like blended families. And this really is the day and age, so I feel like it gives you a sense of, or maybe that's what it's meant to do is give you a sense of comfort. You know, I remember when I was married, this was back in the early 80s. But I remember my then husband, when I said I wanted a divorce, he's like, well, you have two kids, you'll never find someone again. Well, boy, was he wrong. Boy, was he wrong. All right, let's do one more round and see if anything else wants to come out. And it did. Wow. Well, where am I trying to put these? Look at this. Calling in your soulmate. Your prayers, affirmations, and visualizations help bring you together. Calling in your soulmate. And then look what shows up after it. Your soulmate. Yes, this is your soulmate. This is your soulmate. How could it not be? I didn't need this card to tell us that. But boy, I'm glad it came out. And I love how calling in your soulmate. So it's like in the Three of Wands, right? Like I know my ships will come in. The Nine of Cups, inner fulfillment, but then fulfillment of wishes. So many of you have a soulmate coming in, whether you know them or not. And I feel like, how do I know? Well, I feel like you've probably been asking for it. You know what I mean? Like maybe praying or visualizing it, saying the affirmations. Like the Three of Wands, I expect good things to happen, and they do. And look how they do. So, this is just beautiful validation of the type of love, a soulmate. And, it's like prayers are answered. What a reading. Boy, Virgo, I hoped you liked this because I loved it. I feel like it is so clear. And maybe one of the most, well, I was going to say one of the most important energies is the Fool. But really, I feel like the world, right, allowing what needs to come to completion, allowing it to come to completion. What's no longer serving you. And the willingness to let it go. Find that inner harmony and just watch. Just watch. Like, how the universe is going to, I want to say surprise you, but I feel like I kind of let the cat out of the bag. Destined love, destined pass, creativity off the chart. It's your month. It's your month. And I'm going to let that be. I love you guys. I thank you. Cannot wait to hear your comments. I truly love your comments. Even those that maybe aren't so positive, I can take feedback. Um, but man, your guides were clear, as clear could be today. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let it be. And so it is. I love you. I'll see you next time at our table. Bye bye.